Now, using your glass cutter, you just take and hold it kind of like a pencil. I usually like to work away from my body so that I can see the line that I'm working on. Don't be afraid of the glass. I'm just going to do a wild cut here and maybe put a little bit of a curve to it, pretending like I'm following an edge. Now, if you can hear that, I'm pushing just hard enough to make it sound like tearing paper. Okay, I've got a score going from here to here, following kind of a squiggle, simulating what you're going to do with some of your pieces of stained glass. If you're going to do a long cut like this, you're going to want to use your running pliers. Like I say, there's a single tooth on the bottom and two on the top. To help remind me of this, I've written the word up on the tool. Hold your glass almost to the edge of the table. Can you see back here, camera girl? Okay. And then putting the center of that running pliers over that score, just squeeze gradually till you hear a real soft tick or a pop. There it was. Just like a tiny snap. And you can see it starting to run. Take both your fingers like this and leaving it on the edge of the table, start to work that a little bit. And you'll see that start to run. Okay. Hopefully we'll get a good break here because it's a very long piece. And you might have to work with it a little bit more to go up. Okay. There we've got a piece of cut glass. Now it's very sharp on this edge, so be careful not to get too wild with it. You can see that's how some of these long leafy strips are cut. Also, you can cut straight pieces using this glass square that we showed you once before. Just take and you hold the glass square firmly. Now this time, instead of cutting away from you, it's best to cut towards you because you're going to cut the straight line. And you look at where the wheel is on the whatever line that you've chosen. And following the wheel, you start at the end, and if you can hear that, it sounds like paper tearing again. And we've made a straight cut. Now what we got to do is the same thing with our running pliers. Bring the glass over to the edge of the table, put it in the center, squeeze it slowly till you hear a slight tick. Okay, I've heard a tick and I can also see it starting to run. And with your 2 fingers underneath and your thumbs above, kind of start to work that slowly. Okay, the next thing is, now that you've got these strips, you can practice using these grozers. Just take one of these strips and draw some different lines through it. Straight, a little bit of a curve, it doesn't matter. Just draw some lines through it, pushing away from your body. And then take your grozers and just practice that. Remember, the smiling is the right way. Break those one at a time. Now you can, I prefer to use grozers whenever I can, but you can do these with your fingers by putting your 2 index fingers underneath and your thumbs above, and then just applying pressure, and they'll break. So you sometimes get away with doing it that way too. However, I do feel safer using the grozers like that. Okay, the next type of cut we're going to have is, this is one that you'll need to practice. There's inside cuts and outside cuts. Say you have a piece of glass and you're going to cut out something that's almost a semicircle, like this. And you've got to cut that out for your pattern. If you were to take your glass cutter and just try to do it in one cut, it would probably start to break and then run all the way across your glass. So what we do is we nip away at it. We take a little piece here like this, take a piece here like this, and a piece here like this, and a piece here like this. Now I'm not going to cut all of these, but I'm going to show you so you can get an idea and practice doing this. And you'll need to practice this till you feel a bit more confident at it. I like to do these one at a time so that if I do mess up, I can move my pattern and then start over. So So we'll take and do a piece here. A lot of the times also when I'm cutting glass, I'm not sitting down. This time you're going to use your grozers. Right side up is with the smiling look on it. And you're going to put those grozers right by your score, using the table and your finger for support. And the idea is down and away. Let's do another one or two. Here we go. Again, put the grozers right close to the cut. Use the table and your finger for support, and it's down and away. Some inside cuts aren't curved so badly, so you can usually get away with doing one cut on the easier ones. Again, support, down and away. You see this one's breaking rather nicely. We'll do one more just to show you that it can be done. Table for support, grozers by the edge, down and away. Now sometimes when these break, they won't break all the way through, and although you've scored it, a piece of it will break off, but then you just move on and pull out that little piece and continue to work with it. Okay, now I've showed you strip cutting, cutting long curves, inside cuts, and now the outside cut, which really isn't that bad. Let's say you need to cut something that's shaped kind of like this. Most of that's outside cuts. Let's just take that piece of glass off of there. I'll use my fingers even. There we go. Okay, now what you want to do with an outside cut is you got to start at one place that looks the most logical, and you want to follow the line a little bit like this. The next one will go like this, and you can see it kind of goes on like that, on around it, and then just work your way. And we'll save this little curvy inside cut for last because I don't think that's going to be a problem. So you'll take your piece, and you can do all of them actually, score them before you start breaking them. Go all the way across, follow that curve a little bit. And we'll even do this little inside one here too. And it doesn't matter if you cross your starting score, but I usually like to stop before it. Okay, once again, taking your grozers to start breaking those pieces off. Using your finger for support, break it off. If they're a little bit jagged, that's okay, because you're going to be grinding those down when you have a real pattern to work with. You can see those break away rather easily. And now we'll keep our fingers crossed for this one. There. And there you have that piece for an inside cut. So take your practice glass, just cut it all up, practice with it till you feel comfortable, and we'll move on to the next portion from there. I thought of one more important thing in cutting glass that you might want to know about. This is kind of an extra tip. Sometimes you'll be cutting a piece of glass that may be shaped kind of like this, that it comes to a point. And so you're going to run your cutter along that, but instead of running it right along and coming to the point, you want to leave yourself a little extra space. Like you'll want the point to maybe meet out here where I have that dot. So you'll run your cut more to the outside of that and leave a little space. Let me show you what I mean. Oops, not following that line very well this time. But I'll do it in an exaggerated way. Take your grozers again. And we'll go ahead and score this other one. This will be much bigger and wider than you really need it to be away from your line. Now, instead of breaking it from this point, because if you break from this point, it's kind of a weak spot, and you might end up breaking off the tip of your glass. So you'll want to break it from away from it here, like this, and break it towards the point. Okay, now what you've got is right here is where you want the glass to end, so that's going to be the end of your piece. And you'll have this extra jagged piece sticking out here. So what you'll do when it comes time to grind down the point first, and then grind out these edges last. That's how you cut pointed pieces. So always remember to leave yourself a little bit of added insurance. Let me give you another tip here. Sometimes you'll start your cutting and the wheel won't be leaving any oil. If that had oil on it, it would be leaving a line on my thing. So take and just pour a little bit onto your hand, roll the tip around in that, and that'll get that primed so that the oil starts coming down through. Screw it back together. You kind of need that to keep the wheel oiled so it cuts better. Here's another tip. If you're breaking glass and you end up with a bunch of little shards like this, don't sweep it off with your bare hand. Get the glove that you have and use that, or even use a little broom. But don't use your bare hand or you're going to end up cutting yourself.